Okay, so what we want to do now in this example is we want to figure out what is the exact value of sine 67 pi over 3 using reference angles, right? Now, the question here is, what quadrant does 67 pi over 3 lie in? And this is going to be a bit harder. Remember, when we had like 11 pi over 3 or 5 pi over 3, it was kind of easy to figure it out. But with 67 pi over 3, that's going to be a lot of revolutions we're going to go over, right? Because if I start here, I have 0, that makes it 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, so on and so forth. How many times do I need to go around to get to 67 pi over 3? Well, what we do here is, to figure that out, this is what we do. So we have 67 pi over 3, right? Now watch carefully, right? Pay attention. What I do here is I'm going to split up the 67 into such a way that one of the numbers is going to be a multiple of 3. So what is a number that is closest to 67 and that is a multiple of 3? And that's going to be 66, right? 69 is also a multiple of 3, but 66 is closer to 67 than 69. So I'm going to write 67 pi as 66 pi plus pi, all of this divided by 3, right? If this were 5, I would have written this as 65 pi plus 2 pi. But since this is 3, I'm going to look at the denominator. I'm going to split it up such a way that one of the numbers is going to be a multiple of 3, and that is closest to 67, right? So 66 pi plus pi over 3. Now, since I have a common denominator, I can split this up, and I can write this as 66 pi over 3 plus pi over 3. So immediately we see here that we have an acute angle. And that happens to be a reference angle, right? So I know what my reference angle is, so I know what my trig value is going to be. The only thing now is, what is that? So if I simplify this, this gives me 22 pi plus pi over 3. Okay, 22 pi. What quadrant does my angle fall in? So let's look here again, right? 0. This is 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, 6 pi. So if you look at it, all my even pi's are falling here. So 22 pi is going to be here, and then plus a pi over 3 will put it up in the first quadrant, right? So my angle is in the first quadrant. Theta is in quadrant 1, okay? And so then we know in this case that sine of 67 pi over 3 is basically sine of pi over 3. Okay, and that is going to be square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so know that it's very important, first of all, here to figure out how do I break this down, because once I do that carefully, it gives me not only my quadrant where my angle lies, but it also gives me my reference angle. And if I know my angle, reference angle, and my quadrant, then I know what my value is, because the function value is exactly the value of the function at the reference angle, and whether it's going to be positive or negative depends upon what quadrant it is going to be in.